The sun blazed intensely over the University of Washington campus as Maya Chen adjusted the final cables of her graduation project. At 19 years old, she had always preferred the company of circuits and code to the social chaos of dormitories. Her specialization in renewable energy systems was more than an academic passion. It was her way of trying to fix a world that seemed increasingly broken. The laboratory was silent, except for the low hum of computers and the occasional sound of cars passing on the street. Maya loved these peaceful moments, when she could lose herself completely in work. Her thesis on autonomous microgrid network integration wasn't the most glamorous project, but it could revolutionize how rural communities accessed clean energy. "Maya, you need to see this." Leela, her 12-year-old younger sister, burst into the laboratory holding her phone. The news showed telescopic images of bright objects cutting through the sky like luminous wounds in the perfect blue afternoon. "Meteors," Maya murmured without looking up from the wires. "Happens every year, Lai. Remember the Perseids in August?" "These are different. Look at the size." Leela forced the phone into Maya's line of sight. "And there are way more of them than there should be." Maya finally paused her work. On the small screen, she could see dozens of luminous streaks cutting through the atmosphere simultaneously. Her analytical mind immediately began calculating velocities and entry angles. Something was wrong. Meteors didn't fall in such organized formations. "Maybe it's satellite debris," she said, more to herself than to Leela. "Some old space station disintegrating." But when Maya finally looked through the window, she saw lights cutting through the sky like luminous knives descending directly over Seattle. This wasn't a meteor shower. This wasn't space debris. This was something much worse, much more deliberate. The first explosion illuminated the western horizon. Maya felt the building shake slightly, windows trembling in their frames. Leela screamed and ran to the window. "Maya, look!" A column of fire and smoke rose from the direction of the port, climbing kilometers into the sky. Then came the sound wave, a deafening roar that made every car alarm in the parking lot go off simultaneously. The second impact hit closer. Maya saw the flash before hearing anything, a white light that turned the world into a photographic negative for one crucial second. Instinctively, she threw herself over Leela, knocking them both behind a heavy workbench. The shock wave arrived 3 seconds later. Every window in the laboratory exploded inward in a shower of crystals. Machines fell from workbenches. The lights went out. The entire building groaned like a wounded animal as Maya covered Leela with her own body. Then came the others. Impact after impact, each one closer than the last. The world became a kaleidoscope of white light, flying glass, and deafening sound. Maya felt something warm trickling from her scalp, blood from a glass cut. "Leela! Leela, are you okay?" Maya screamed over the chaos. There was no response. When silence finally returned, a deeper and more terrible silence than anything Maya had ever experienced, she slowly got up. The laboratory was unrecognizable. Expensive equipment reduced to electronic scrap. Years of research destroyed in minutes. And where Leela should have been, Maya found only concrete rubble and a small outstretched hand that no longer moved. The world they knew ended in that moment. Maya woke from the same nightmare. It was always the same. Leela calling her name while she wasted the last precious moments focused on useless wires. Her hands trembled as she reached for the small solar radio she'd built from salvaged parts. 6:47 a.m. Another day in what used to be Seattle. The bunker she'd constructed in the basement of a destroyed library wasn't much, but it kept her alive. Walls reinforced with welded metal shelving,
air filtration system made from car filters and t-shirt fabric, and solar panels camouflaged in what remained of the roof. Maya had learned that survival was simply engineering applied to lethal problems. She checked her morning routine. First, the instruments. The homemade radiation detector made from a hospital Geiger tube indicated safe levels. The improvised barometer showed stable pressure. The motion detectors she'd installed around the perimeter remained silent. The atmosphere was more stable than in the first month after the fall, but the air still burned the lungs without a mask. The ash from initial fires had settled, revealing a sky permanently tinted sickly orange. But it was something else that worried Maya, an almost imperceptible metallic haze that made electronics fail randomly. She'd lost 4 smartphones, 2 laptops, and a dozen other devices to the mysterious interference. Anything with complex integrated circuits simply died, as if something in the air slowly poisoned them. Maya ate her breakfast: filtered water, homemade granola made from oats found in an abandoned grocery store, and expired vitamins that still retained some nutritional value. While eating, she studied her handwritten maps. Each red X marked a location she'd investigated. Each blue circle indicated useful resources. Each black symbol represented danger, raiders, unstable structures, or areas with radiation too high. The radio crackled. Maya paused, spoon halfway to her mouth. It wasn't the usual static. It was intentional. 3 long pulses, pause, 2 short, pause, 3 long again. SOS. Maya carefully adjusted the frequency, trying to isolate the signal through the constant interference. It was coming from the north, approximately 2 kilometers away. She hadn't heard another human signal in 2 weeks, since the last raider who'd tried to breach her bunker. She hesitated, staring at the radio. Every time she'd investigated previous signals, she'd found only trouble. Desperate raiders willing to kill for a few cans of food, lunatics who'd lost their sanity in solitude, or worse, people like the man who tried to negotiate information about bunkers full of supplies in exchange for female companionship. Her modified nail gun had convinced him otherwise, but the experience had made her even more cautious.
But 3 months of solitude were taking their toll. Maya dreamed of Leela every night, but during the day she'd started talking to her out loud, maintaining complete discussions about engineering and survival with someone who was no longer there. She needed real human contact before she completely lost her sanity. Maya loaded her backpack methodically. Basic tools, screwdrivers, pliers, multimeter, emergency supplies, purified water, energy bars, first aid kit. Weapons: the modified nail gun, a homemade taser, and her favorite tool, a flare she'd converted into an improvised incendiary weapon. If it was a trap, at least she'd die trying to help someone, instead of wasting away alone in the dark. The signal was coming from a partially collapsed apartment building, a brick structure that had lost its entire west facade on the first day. Maya observed for 20 minutes before approaching, looking for signs of ambush. Raiders liked to use distress signals as bait. The SOS pattern continued, mechanical and persistent. Too regular to be manual. Someone had set up an automatic transmitter. Maya circled the building twice before finding a safe entrance. Fire escape on the east side, still intact. She climbed carefully, testing each step before putting her full weight on it. On the 3rd floor, she found the source, an old ham radio connected to a car battery through improvised cables. The setup was impressive for being so simple. Someone knew what they were doing. "Hello?" Maya called quietly, keeping the nail gun ready. "Is anyone here?" A sound of something falling came from upstairs, followed by muffled crying, clearly from a child.
Maya climbed one more flight of stairs, each step deliberate and silent. In a child's room decorated with planets and stars, ironically appropriate given what had fallen from the sky, she found a small girl hiding under an overturned table. The child couldn't be more than 8 years old. Dark curly hair, dusty, clothes dirty but intact, holding a dead tablet like it was a teddy bear. Her eyes were enormous and dark, full of fear that no child should have to carry. "Hey," Maya whispered, lowering her weapon and crouching to get on the girl's level. "It's okay. I won't hurt you." The girl retreated further under the table. "You're not one of the bad men?" "No. I'm Maya. What's your name?" "Zoe." The voice was barely a whisper, as if she was afraid that speaking too loudly would bring the monsters back. "Where are your parents, Zoe?" The girl's eyes filled with fresh tears. "The bad men took them. Said they'd come back for me, but that was 3 days ago. Or 4. I lost count." Maya felt something tighten painfully in her chest. Leela would be this age now, if she'd survived. "You've been alone here for 3 days?" Zoe nodded, hugging the tablet tighter. "I tried to turn on the tablet to play games, but nothing works anymore. Daddy always fixed things when they broke. He was very smart."
What kind of work did your dad do?
He was a scientist, Mommy too. They studied the atmosphere, talked about gases and particles and things that make the air bad.
Zoe looked toward the window, where the sickly orange sky was visible. They were very worried before the men came. They stayed up late, whispering about numbers and formulas. Before Maya could respond, harsh voices echoed from the ground floor. Multiple people, talking loudly, not concerned with discretion. "Search every room. The transmission is coming from somewhere in here. What if it's a trap? Then we take the equipment and leave. Win-win." Maya picked up Zoe, surprised by how light the girl was, obviously malnourished. "Is there another exit?" Zoe pointed to the window. "Fire escape, but it's broken on the 2nd floor." The voices were getting closer, heavy boots climbing wooden stairs. Maya quickly examined the fire escape. 3 crucial steps were missing, but the neighboring building was only 2 meters away. Risky, but possible. "Hold tight to me," she whispered to Zoe, "and don't look down no matter what happens."
Maya only stopped running when they reached her bunker. Zoe had remained silent during the entire 20-minute escape, clinging like a scared little koala. Only when Maya closed and locked the improvised armored door, 3 layers of welded metal with locks she'd fabricated herself, did the girl finally speak. "It's dark in here." Maya lit one of the LED lamps she'd built from laptop batteries and salvaged components. "Sorry, I have to keep the lights low to conserve energy. But look, I have books, some games, even a small music system." Zoe looked around with childish curiosity intact despite everything she'd been through. The bunker was organized with military precision. Labeled shelves, tools organized by function, maps covering an entire wall. "Did you build all this yourself?" "With parts I found. Engineering is just solving problems with the tools you have." Maya offered purified water in a clean mug and a granola bar she'd made from oats and honey she'd found. "What are your parents' full names? Maybe I can help find them." "Dr. Michael Zhang and Dr. Sarah Chen Zhang. They worked at the university's Atmospheric Research Center." Zoe nibbled the granola carefully, as if she didn't want to waste even a crumb. "Do you have siblings?" The brutal honesty of children always disarmed her. Maya paused, water halfway to her lips. "I had a younger sister, Lila." "What happened to her?" She died on the first day, when the stones fell." Maya felt the familiar burn of tears, but pushed them down. Crying wouldn't bring Lila back, and Zoe needed someone strong now. Zoe nodded solemnly, with the terrible wisdom that children acquire too early in difficult times. "Many people died.
Mommy said they weren't real stones. Maya paused, all attention focused on the girl. What do you mean? She and Daddy got very nervous after they analyzed samples that Daddy brought from the lab. They kept whispering about impossible composition and terraforming technology and artificial electromagnetic signature. I didn't understand the big words, but I know they were very scared. Terraforming? Maya knew the term from astrophysics courses she'd taken as electives, the theoretical process of transforming a planet to be habitable by other species. But applying that to Earth? To our own planet? Zoe, do you remember anything else your parents said? Any detail could be important.
The girl played with the dead tablet, running her fingers over the dark screen. Daddy said someone was trying to change our atmosphere on purpose, to make it bad for humans but good for other things, things that breathe different gases. A chill ran through Maya. If Zoe's parents were right, this wasn't a natural disaster. It was a deliberate attack. Genocide on a planetary scale. Would you like to try fixing this? Maya pointed to the tablet, more to distract the girl from painful memories than from real hope. Zoe's eyes lit up for the first time since Maya had found her. Can it be fixed? I thought all electronics were dead forever. Maybe. Let's take a look. Maya connected the tablet to her power system through a converter she'd built. The screen remained dead. She checked connections, tested the internal battery, examined internal circuits through the transparent casing. Everything seemed normal, power flowing, components intact, but something prevented it from functioning. Can I try? Zoe asked timidly. Maya laughed, a strange sound after so much silence. Sure, but I don't know what you could do that I couldn't. Zoe placed her small hands directly on the screen. She closed her eyes, frowning in deep concentration. There's something blocking it, like a fog inside the wires. I can feel it. Fog? I can feel it moving like when you put your hand near a radio and interfere with the signal. But it's more than that. It's like it's alive. Zoe pressed harder, her small hands splaying against the cool surface. I'm going to try to push the fog out. Maya was about to say this made no scientific sense when the tablet screen flickered once, then lit up completely. The startup logo appeared as if nothing had happened. How did you do that? Zoe shrugged, but there was something different in her expression, more confident. I've always been able to feel when things were sick. Computers, phones, even the microwave once when it stopped heating properly. Mommy called it a special gift, but Daddy said it was just elevated electromagnetic sensitivity. Maya looked at her own dead equipment scattered around the bunker. A laptop that had been her most precious tool, smartphone with important maps and data, long-range radio that could connect her with other survivors, all victims of the mysterious interference that had rendered electronic technology useless since the fall. Zoe, she said slowly, a new possibility forming in her mind. Would you like to try fixing some other things?
Over the next 2 weeks, Maya and Zoe established a routine that saved both their sanity. Mornings were dedicated to survival training, Maya teaching Zoe about water purification, safe food identification, danger signals, and basic self-defense. Afternoons were lab time, Zoe working to reactivate equipment while Maya tried to understand how the girl's ability worked. The results were inconsistent but increasingly promising. Zoe had managed to reactivate Maya's laptop, 2 smartphones, an emergency radio, and the small gasoline generator that had stopped working weeks before. But the effort left her visibly exhausted, and some devices failed again after a few hours, as if something continued fighting against them. It's like something keeps trying to turn them off,
Zoe explained, while resting after a particularly difficult session reactivating a set of walkie-talkies. The fog gets stronger at night. During the day, I can push it away, but when I get tired, it comes back. Maya studied readings from her newly functional instruments. The electromagnetic field meter that Zoe had fixed showed strange patterns, regular pulses of interference that coincided exactly with what Zoe described as fog waves. Zoe, when you say fog, are you speaking metaphorically or do you actually see something? I see it, not with my eyes, but inside my head? Like when you close your eyes and can still see where things are in a dark room. Zoe paused, searching for words to explain something that clearly went beyond her age. It's like something keeps trying to turn them off, she explained, while resting after a particularly difficult session, reactivating a set of walkie-talkies. The fog gets stronger at night. During the day, I can push it away, but when I get tired, it comes back. Maya studied readings from her newly functional instruments. The electromagnetic field meter that Zoe had fixed showed strange patterns, regular pulses of interference that coincided exactly with what Zoe described as fog waves. Zoe, when you say fog, are you speaking metaphorically or do you actually see something? I see it, not with my eyes, but inside my head, like when you close your eyes and can still see where things are in a dark room. Zoe paused, searching for words to explain something that clearly went beyond her age. It's dark blue when it's just sitting there, but turns red when it's actively attacking the devices. Electromagnetic perception, Maya murmured, flipping through a neuroscience book she'd saved from the library. She'd read about rare cases of people with extreme sensitivity to electric fields. Some could feel power transmission lines. Others got physically sick near Wi-Fi routers. But she'd never heard of someone capable of actively manipulating electronic circuits. The laptop emitted a notification beep. Maya had managed to connect to an emergency mesh network that some survivor techs maintained with hardened military equipment. Most sites were dead, but some scientific repositories were still accessible through backup servers. I found something, Maya said, scrolling through pre-event academic papers. Your parents published an article 3 weeks before the fall. Electromagnetic anomalies in meteorite samples, evidence of extraterrestrial nanotechnology.
Zoe approached the screen, reading over Maya's shoulder. For an 8-year-old, her comprehension of scientific text was impressive. What does that mean? It means they discovered that the asteroids weren't normal space rocks. They contained microscopic technology, nanobots specifically programmed to alter our atmosphere. Maya continued reading, her stomach tightening with each technical paragraph. The nanobots were designed to break down oxygen bonds and replace them with a mixture of gases toxic to humans but ideal for methane-based life forms. Maya found diagrams showing the nanobots in microscopic detail, impossibly complex crystalline structures, smaller than viruses but more sophisticated than any human technology. It was an attack, she whispered. Someone or something is trying to exterminate us and reclaim the planet for themselves. But why do electronics stop working? Maya searched more, finding data that Zoe's parents had hidden on encrypted servers. The nanobots generate a coordinated electromagnetic field that specifically interferes with silicon circuits. It's like an automatic defense. They prevent us from using technology to fight the terraforming or communicate effectively. Zoe touched the laptop screen lightly, and Maya could swear she saw small arcs of electricity between the girl's fingers and the display. But I can make them work. Yes, you can, and that gives me a very important idea. Maya turned to face the girl completely. Did your parents mention where they were keeping their main research?
something beyond what they published. Daddy always talked about the secure lab. He said if something bad happened, I should look for Dr. Harrison at the research center. He paused. He said they were working on something that could reverse the process if they figured out how to make it work. Maya knew the Atmospheric Research Center, an underground laboratory complex 15 kilometers to the north. It would be a dangerous journey through unknown territory, but if Zoe's parents had left something there... Zoe, tomorrow we're going on a very important trip.
The Atmospheric Research Center looked like a cemetery of glass and steel against the perpetual orange sky. Shattered windows reflected the sickly light like dead eyes. Maya and Zoe approached at dawn, avoiding the abandoned cars that filled the parking lot like metal tombstones. Maya had spent the night planning the route, studying maps and old satellite images she'd managed to access. The complex had 5 buildings, connected by underground tunnels, specialized laboratories, and at least 3 backup generators that might still be functional. "There's someone inside," Zoe whispered, pointing to a weak light flickering on the 5th floor of the main building. Maya adjusted the heavy backpack, water for 2 days, specialized tools, improvised weapons, and Zoe's tablet fully charged. "Remember what we discussed. If something goes wrong, you run to the meeting point. Don't try to help me. Don't come back to look for me. Just run and wait until sunset. If I don't show up, you go back to the bunker and survive. Promise?" Zoe nodded reluctantly, but Maya could see the stubborn determination in her eyes, the same expression Leela used when she was about to do something dangerous. The main entrance was not just locked, but barricaded with furniture. Maya found a broken window in the basement where the ventilation system had exploded outward. They crawled through glass and debris until they reached the dead elevators, then faced 5 floors of stairs in near total darkness. On the 3rd floor, they found Zoe's parents' laboratory. The door had been violently forced, hinges ripped from the wall. Expensive equipment was scattered and broken, important papers burned in a trash can. Someone had searched for something specific and had been frustrated. But in a side room, hidden behind a file cabinet that seemed to have been moved recently, Zoe found something Maya had missed. A camouflage door, painted to blend perfectly with the wall. "Daddy showed me this once when I came to work with him on a weekend," she said, pressing a specific sequence of buttons on a panel that looked merely decorative. The door revealed a compact but incredibly advanced laboratory. Quantum computers, electron microscopes, centrifuges, and dozens of test tubes containing samples of the meteorites in various stages of analysis. The air here was different, cleaner, filtered by systems that still ran on backup power. In the center of the room, a device that looked straight out of a science fiction movie dominated the space. A metal box the size of a refrigerator, covered with crystalline antennas, energy panels, and displays that pulsed with soft blue light.
"What is this?" Maya asked, examining the machine. It was clearly built with technology beyond anything she'd seen. Zoe approached and touched the device lightly. Immediately, her eyes widened. "I feel something different here. It's not like the other electronics I fix. It's much stronger and much hungrier." Maya found a laboratory notebook left open on the main table. The handwriting was hurried, desperate, as if written in final moments. "If anyone finds this, Project Aurora works in theory. The device can neutralize nanobots in a 50-kilometer radius and reverse 60% of atmospheric damage, but needs an energy source we could never generate. Conventional generators are insufficient. Needs at least 10 gigawatts sustained for 2 continuous hours. It's impossible with our current technology, but if someone finds a way, humanity still has a chance. Dr. M. Zhang." Maya felt her heart racing. "Zoe, when you fix electronics, where does the energy come from?"
From me, I think. That's why I get tired after. Zoe still had her hands on the device, eyes closed in concentration. But this is different. It's like it's sleeping, waiting for someone strong enough to wake it up. Maya looked at the girl, then at the device, then back at the girl. A terrible and wonderful idea began to form, a possibility that could save humanity or kill the only family she had left. Zoe, do you trust me completely? Yes. I need you to touch this machine and tell me exactly what you feel, but very carefully. Don't try to activate it yet. Zoe placed both hands on the smooth surface of Project Aurora. She closed her eyes, concentrating as Maya had taught her. It's immense, much bigger than anything I've ever felt. And it's not sick like the other devices. It's just sleeping, waiting. Can you wake it up? Maybe, but... Zoe opened her eyes, genuinely frightened. Maya, it's very, very hungry. If I try to wake it up, it's going to want to eat all the energy I have, maybe more energy than I can give. Before Maya could respond, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed in the corridor outside, male voices approaching with purpose. Maya quickly closed the notebook and turned off the small flashlight. Hide behind the machine, she whispered to Zoe, pushing her gently to the opposite side of Project Aurora.
The main laboratory door burst open violently. 3 men entered, military flashlights sweeping the devastated room with professional precision. These weren't ordinary raiders. They moved with coordination, wore tactical equipment, and spoke in codes. Alpha Team, main laboratory compromised, one of them murmured into his radio, proceeding to secondary areas. It has to be here somewhere, another grumbled, examining the broken equipment. The asset said the scientists hid the prototype before extraction. Maybe the other teams already found it, the third suggested, methodically searching drawers. Maya recognized the leader's voice. It was the same one she'd heard during Zoe's pursuit weeks ago. Negative. Bravo team reported negative in the basement. Charlie team still checking adjacent building. This thing is worth more than our lives to command. They began systematically searching the room, checking every cabinet, every corner. It was a matter of minutes before they found the secret entrance. Maya made a desperate decision. She emerged from the hidden room with her hands raised, but keeping a smoke grenade she'd made from laboratory chemicals hidden in her sleeve. Don't shoot. I'm alone and unarmed. The 3 men turned instantly, weapons trained on her with military precision. The leader, a large man with combat scars and eyes that had seen too much, gestured for radio silence. Look what we have here. Maya Chen, Energy Systems Engineer, missing for 6 months. He consulted a small tablet. Our employers are very interested in you. I don't know what you're talking about. Of course you do. You and that special child have been reactivating equipment throughout the Northwest sector. Our electromagnetic scanners detected anomalies in a 20-kilometer radius centered on your activities. Maya felt ice in her veins. What employers? The man smiled coldly. People who understood that this new world needs new alliances, and technology that works despite the interference is worth fortunes in the right markets. Markets? What markets can exist when the atmosphere is being terraformed? Ah, that's the beautiful part. The leader gestured toward the orange sky visible through broken windows. Our employers aren't terrestrial. They're the new landlords of this planet, and they reward generously those who prove useful during the transition.
Maya felt sick. You're collaborating? With whoever did this? We're being pragmatic. Humanity lost this war before it even started.
But some of us can not only survive, but thrive if we're smart enough to be on the winning side. The horror of the situation hit Maya fully. They weren't just fighting against alien terraforming. There were humans actively helping the process, trading their own species for personal survival. "The child isn't with me," Maya lied. "Got lost days ago during a scavenger raid." Negative. The leader consulted his tablet again. Bioscanners indicate 2 human signatures in this building. Child is here. It was then that Zoe appeared voluntarily at the entrance to the secret room, hands visible, trying to look smaller than she was. "Don't hurt her," Zoe said, with a voice surprisingly steady for an 8-year-old. "I'll go with you if you let Maya go." "Zoe, no!" Maya screamed. But before anyone could move, something extraordinary happened. All the lights in the building flickered on simultaneously. Computers that had been dead for months suddenly hummed to life. The air itself began to vibrate with energy that made everyone's hair stand on end. Zoe wasn't just glowing. She was conducting electricity like a living lightning rod.
Zoe's transformation lasted only seconds, but changed everything in the room. Energy arced between her fingers and the metal surfaces around her. Every electronic device within a 50-meter radius suddenly sprang to life, displays showing data that hadn't been accessible for months. "What the hell?" one of the soldiers murmured, his weapon's electronic scope suddenly providing targeting data after months of being dark. The leader leveled his rifle at Zoe. "I don't know what kind of tech trick this is, girl, but you're coming with us either way." Maya moved instinctively, placing herself between the weapon and Zoe. "She's just a child." "A child who can make technology functional when nothing else works." The man's smile turned predatory. "Our employers will pay significantly for that capability." "Who exactly are your employers?" Maya demanded, buying time while her mind raced through options. "Intelligent beings. Beings who recognize that this invasion is actually a business opportunity. When terraforming finishes in 72 hours, they want to be assured that useful humans are preserved." Maya felt nausea rising. "You're selling out your own species?" "We're being realistic. Humanity is finished, but some of us can survive if we're useful to the new owners of the planet." He gestured around the destroyed lab. "Technology like what the child can provide will be valuable for decades." Zoe stepped forward, energy still crackling around her small frame. "This isn't your planet to sell." He laughed. "Girl, in 72 hours you won't even be able to breathe the air. The nanobots are accelerating the process. Oxygen levels dropping, methane rising exponentially. It's finished." "Not if I can stop it," Zoe said quietly. Maya looked at Zoe, alarmed. The girl seemed different, older, more determined, and the energy around her was growing stronger by the moment. "Zoe, what are you doing?" "What Daddy and Mommy wanted me to do." Zoe looked toward the secret room. "The machine. I can feed it the energy it needs." "But you said it would consume too much." "Yes. It'll use all my energy. Maybe kill me." Zoe's eyes met Maya's. "But it'll work. It'll reverse the process enough to give humanity time to fight back properly." Maya understood with absolute horror. "No, Zoe, no. There has to be another way." "Maya," Zoe said gently, "you taught me that engineering is solving problems with the tools you have available. I am a tool, a very powerful tool." The leader of the soldiers had lost patience. "Enough conversation. Secure both targets for extraction." But when his soldiers moved forward, Zoe raised one hand. A wave of electromagnetic energy swept the room. The weapons simply stopped functioning. Electronic firing mechanisms failed. Digital scopes went dark. Radio communications cut to static. "Run," Zoe told Maya, her voice strangely calm despite everything. "Not without you." "Maya,
Zoe turned, and for a moment she looked exactly like Leela, determined, brave, trying to protect someone she loved. "You taught me that sometimes we have to be brave even when we're scared. This is my time." Tears blurred Maya's vision. "Zoe, take Daddy's notebook, document what happens, and tell people that we're still fighting." Zoe was already moving toward Project Aurora. "Tell them that a little girl from Seattle didn't give up." The soldiers were scrambling, looking for backup weapons that weren't electronic. Maya realized she had seconds to decide: try to save Zoe and probably fail, or trust the child and use the time she was buying. "I love you, little scientist," Maya whispered. "Love you too, little sister Maya." Zoe smiled, energy building around her like visible aurora. Maya grabbed the notebook and ran, hearing behind her the sound of Zoe placing her hands on a machine that might save the world.
Maya stopped in the corridor, her heart pounding. She could hear Zoe in the secret room, talking softly to the machine as if it were a frightened animal. "It's okay. It's okay. I know you're hungry. We're going to save everyone together, just like Daddy wanted." Maya pressed her fist against her mouth to suppress a sob. After losing Lila, she'd found another little sister, only to lose her too. It was cruel beyond comprehension. But then she remembered Zoe's words. Engineering is solving problems with the tools you have. Maya had tools that Zoe didn't know about. She ran back to the main laboratory, ignoring the 3 soldiers who were frantically trying to get their equipment working again. She dove for the computers that Zoe had reactivated and began typing furiously. "Zoe," she called out, "wait, I have an idea." In the secret room, energy was intensifying. Maya could feel her hair standing on end with static electricity. "Maya, you should have left." Zoe's voice sounded distant, already connecting with the machine. "You said the machine is very hungry, right?" "Yes, needs much more energy than I can give without dying." She typed while talking, accessing the building's emergency power grid systems. "What if we didn't need to give all the energy at once? What if we could give a little now, enough to start the process and then find other sources?" I don't understand." "Look, this building is connected to the city's emergency power grid. Diesel generators, solar panels, even a small wind turbine. It's all dormant because of nanobot interference, but if you can reactivate them..." Zoe's eyes widened with understanding. "I could use my energy to wake up the machine and the power grid at the same time." "Exactly. You give the starting energy, the grid takes over the rest." One of the soldiers had found an old mechanical pistol, ancient enough to function despite electronic interference. "Stop this now!" Maya ignored him completely. "Zoe, I need you to trust me. I'm reprogramming the activation sequence to distribute the load." "Maya, he has a weapon." "I know, but if we stop now, everyone dies anyway." Maya's fingers flew over the keyboard. "I need you to touch the machine, but don't give all your energy at once, just enough to wake it up and start the process." The soldier approached, pistol aimed. "Last warning." It was then that the entire building trembled. Not an earthquake, something different, as if the atmosphere itself was changing frequency. "What was that?" one of the soldiers asked. Maya looked out the window. On the horizon, a green fog was spreading like ink in water, visibly accelerating toward them. "Second phase," she whispered. "The nanobots are accelerating the process ahead of schedule." Zoe appeared in the doorway of the secret room. "Maya, I can feel it. They're changing the air faster now. We have maybe 30 minutes before it becomes impossible to breathe." The leader of the soldiers lowered his weapon slightly. 30 minutes? Are you certain?" "Why do you care?" Maya asked. "Didn't your employers promise breathing apparatus?" The man's expression changed. Doubt. Fear. They said there would be time for proper extraction. They lied. Maya turned to face all three soldiers. Look outside. The green fog is advancing. In 30 minutes, all of us will be dead, including you. Silence stretched while everyone processed the reality. Maya seized the moment. We have one chance, one single chance, but it has to be now. The leader hesitated, then lowered his weapon completely. What do you need? Protection. While we activate the device, you make sure nobody else interferes. And if it works, then we all live to see another day. And if it doesn't work? Maya looked at Zoe, then back at the soldier. At least we tried to save our home. Zoe stood before Project Aurora, small hands resting on the cold metal surface. Maya had connected the machine to the building's power systems through improvised cables. Not elegant, but it would function. Remember what we discussed, Maya said softly. Gradual energy, like lighting a fire. Start small. I understand. Zoe closed her eyes. I can feel the power grid now. It's all connected. Buildings, houses, even some abandoned electric cars. Perfect. The machine will draw energy from the entire grid, not just from you. Outside, the green fog approached like a wall of death in slow motion. Maya could see through the window. It was like watching poison spread through the air itself. Beginning now, Zoe announced. The transformation was gradual this time. Energy began flowing into Project Aurora, screens lighting up one by one. But instead of coming entirely from Zoe, Maya could see on monitoring displays that power was being pulled from dozens of sources around the city. It's working, Maya exclaimed. The machine is waking up the entire municipal power grid. The device began emitting a low sound, almost musical. Crystals on the surface glowed with pulsing blue light. How long? The ex-leader of the soldiers asked. Maya noticed that he was genuinely helping now, checking windows for external threats. 2 minutes for complete activation, Maya read from the displays, then 10 more minutes to neutralize all nanobots in a 50-kilometer radius. And the girl? Maya looked at Zoe. The girl was pale but conscious, still standing. She's holding up. The load is being distributed. It was then that another voice cut through the air, coming from speakers that Maya didn't know were functional. Impressive. The voice was cold, distinctly non-human. Primitives demonstrating more ingenuity than anticipated. Everyone in the laboratory turned, searching for the source of the voice. Who's speaking? Maya called out. We are the architects of your new reality. This planet was selected for conversion long ago. One of the screens in the laboratory activated, showing an image that made Maya's blood freeze. It was Earth, viewed from space, but not as she knew it. Continents were changing color, from familiar blue and green to sickly shades of yellow and red. Conversion was proceeding within acceptable parameters until we detected localized interference. Interference? Maya looked at Project Aurora, still building energy. The child, her capacity to manipulate electromagnetic fields, is causing complications in our nanobots. Zoe opened her eyes, still maintaining contact with the machine. They're afraid of me. Not afraid, annoyed. You are insects attempting to prevent garden renovation. Rage built in Maya's chest. This isn't your garden. This is our home. Was. Now it will be optimized for superior species. The screen showed more images. Entire cities covered by the green fog, but also something else. Crystalline structures sprouting from the soil. Impossible towers that seemed to grow like plants. In 72 hours, atmospheric conversion will be complete.
Your interference devices are irrelevant. Maya looked at the displays of Project Aurora, 90% charged. Maybe, she said, but this one's gonna ruin your day. Incorrect. Nanobots will be reactivated from other locations. Temporary delay only. Then why are you talking to us? Zoe asked, her voice tired but firm. Pause. We offer negotiation. What kind? The child comes with us. Her abilities are useful. In exchange, we preserve small human enclave, biological preserve. Maya felt sick. You want to turn Zoe into a zoo animal. Want to turn all of us, the ex-soldier muttered.
The machine reached 100% charge. A new sound filled the air, louder, more intense. Activation in 10 seconds, Maya announced. Final opportunity, the alien voice said. Interrupt the device. Preserve the child. Some survive. Maya looked at Zoe. Your choice, little scientist. Zoe smiled, the same brave smile that Leela used to give before doing something she knew would be dangerous. This is our home, and we're not going to leave. She pressed her hands more firmly on the machine.
What happened in the next 10 minutes changed everything. Project Aurora didn't just activate, it was transformed. Through its connection with Zoe, the machine developed something its creators never imagined: adaptive intelligence. Instead of simply neutralizing the nanobots, the device reprogrammed them. Maya watched in fascination as data flowed across screens. The alien nanobots were being converted into something new. Still microscopic, still capable of altering the atmosphere, but now following terrestrial commands. They're cleaning the air, Maya whispered, watching the readings. The nanobots are removing toxins and restoring oxygen balance. Through the window, the green fog was receding. Not just stopping, being actively pushed back. Impossible, the alien voice sounded, now with something that might be panic. The nanobots no longer respond to our commands. Zoe opened her eyes, but kept her hands on the machine. They're ours now. How? You said I'm good with electronics, Zoe explained, her voice tired but triumphant. Nanobots said just very small electronics. Maya checked the range of the effect. 50 kilometers and expanding. The wave of atmospheric purification was spreading beyond original expectations. Cannot sustain, the alien voice said. Child lacks energy to maintain global control. Doesn't need to, Maya responded, suddenly understanding. The nanobots are self-replicating. Each one you sent is being converted and converting others. The silence that followed was profound. Finally, the voice returned, but different. Less authoritative, more concerned. This is unexpected. For you, maybe, but for us, it's hope.
On the screens, Maya could see data coming from other cities. The effect was spreading faster than anyone had predicted. Converted nanobots were reaching other areas, creating a chain reaction of atmospheric purification. We offer new terms, the alien voice said. Withdrawal from Earth, cessation of conversion. In exchange for guarantee that reverse conversion does not spread beyond this planet. Maya looked at Zoe, then at the soldiers who had become unlikely allies, then at the screens showing clean air returning to Earth. Counteroffer, Maya said. You leave our entire solar system, never return, and leave the converted nanobots as compensation for damages. Unacceptable. Then we continue spreading converted nanobots until they reach your home planet. Long pause. Terms accepted. The building shook slightly as something enormous departed from the atmosphere above.
Maya woke early, as she always had since becoming coordinator of the Seattle Reconstruction Project. The sky had returned to familiar blue, and the air smelled of fresh rain instead of ash and metal. She walked through what would someday again be the University of Washington campus. Construction teams, many composed of ex-soldiers who had found better purpose, worked to rebuild laboratories, but this time with better designs incorporating lessons learned. "Maya!" Zoe waved from the entrance of the new Atmospheric Research Center. At 9 years old, she was officially the youngest person with an honorary PhD in electromagnetic engineering in the world. "How are the nanobots today?" Maya asked, hugging the girl who had become officially her adopted sister. "Well behaved. Finished cleaning San Francisco Bay last night," Zoe smiled. "And we received an interesting message." They entered the laboratory, an expanded and improved version of the secret room where everything began. Quantum computers built with hybrid human nanobot technology processed data from across the planet. "What kind of message?" Zoe pointed to one of the main screens. "It comes from the International Space Station. They're alive up there." Maya felt her heart racing. "How many?" 12 astronauts from different countries. They've been in forced hibernation since the fall, but the nanobots fixed their life support systems. "Can we bring them home?" "Better," Zoe grinned. "They want to stay up there and serve as an early warning station, in case our friends decide to return."
Maya nodded. Part of her still worried about alien retaliation, but converted nanobots had spread throughout the solar system. If anyone tried another invasion, they'd know in advance. And other cities? New York is 80% clean. London, 60%. Tokyo started yesterday. Zoe paused. "Maya, do you think we did the right thing?" "What do you mean?" "We used their technology against them. Does that make us like them?" Maya considered the question, one that kept her awake some nights. "Zoe, they tried to exterminate us, to take our planet. We stopped them and made them leave. I think there's a difference. But now we have the power to spread nanobots to other worlds. And will we use that power?" Zoe shook her head. "Never." "Then we aren't like them." They left the laboratory and walked to the memorial that Maya had built, a glass wall with thousands of names engraved. People lost during the fall and the months that followed. In the center, 2 names shone brighter than the others: Lila Chen and Colin Stewart. "Do you think they'd be proud?" Maya answered. "I think Lila would be making jokes about me finally finding a little sister who's smarter than me. And Colin? Colin would be planning the next adventure." Zoe laughed. "What kind of adventure?" Maya pointed to the sky, where the first rebuilt shuttles were being tested. "Mars needs to be terraformed, but this time, for us." "Can we take the nanobots?" "We can take the nanobots." They stood in silence for a moment, watching construction teams, scientists working, children playing in parks that had been rubble fields just 6 months ago. "Maya?" "Yes?" "Thank you for not giving up on me."
Maya hugged Zoe tighter. "Thank you for not giving up on all of us." Above them, the blue sky stretched infinite, clean, clear, and full of possibilities. Somewhere between the stars, an alien civilization was learning that humanity was more resilient than it appeared. And on Earth, 2 sisters, one by blood lost, another by choice found, planned a future that would honor both the lost and the saved. The echoes of tomorrow were promising. Maya Chen Zhang, now 21, stood on the command bridge of the first nanobot-powered spacecraft from Earth. Beside her,
Zoe Chen, 11 years old and the youngest chief technology officer in history, monitored propulsion systems. "Coordinates for Mars confirmed," Zoe announced. "Terraforming nanobots ready for deployment. Colonization team, 100 volunteer families, including Mr. Morrison." Maya smiled. The ex-soldier had become one of the planet's best construction engineers. "Then let's give humanity a second home," Maya said. "One that nobody can take from us," Zoe added. As the ship accelerated toward the red planet, Maya thought of Zoe's parents, of Leela, of Colin, and of all the people who had sacrificed everything so this moment could be possible. They didn't die in vain. They became the echoes that built tomorrow.